This podcast is supported by Nurtec ODT, Rimegepant. We know you didn't ask for an interruption, but migraine doesn't wait for the right moment to interrupt either. It just barges in, takes your time, and throws everything off. So when migraine takes your time, take Nurtec. It's for the acute treatment of migraine with or without aura in adults. Nurtec can provide pain relief in 2 hours, which can last up to 2 days. Ask your healthcare provider if Nurtec is right for you, because your time is for you, not migraine. Don't take if allergic to Nurtec ODT. Allergic reactions can occur even days after use. Get help right away for trouble breathing, rash, swelling of face, mouth, tongue, or throat. High blood pressure and Raynaud syndrome can occur. Get help for high blood pressure, numbness, coolness, pain, or color changes in fingers and toes. Common side effect is nausea. For full prescribing information, call 1-833-4-NURTEC or visit Nurtec.com. All right, back to your podcast, playlist, or whatever's keeping you going today.
Courage. I learned it from my adoptive mom. Hold my hand?
You hold my hand!
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care at adoptuskids.org. You can't imagine the reward. Brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Welcome to True Crime Garage. Wherever you are, whatever you are doing, thanks for listening. I'm your host, Nick, and with me, as always, is a man who knows that paranoia will destroy you. Here is the captain.
And I'm fine with that. It's good to be seen and good to see you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for telling a friend.
Reaching into the old garage fridge and pulling out a coldie today, we are very happy to be drinking Harbor Lager by the good folks at Harbor Brewing Company. Harbor Lager is a fantastic craft lager. It's highly drinkable and crushable with just the right amount of American crystal hops and a fine balance of floral and citrus notes. ABV 4.3%, garage grade 4 out of 5 bottle caps. And let's give some thanks and praise and raise them high for our friends. First up, a cheers to Hans Van Ryck in Moraine, Illinois.
And a big We Like Your Chip goes out to Morty in Chicago.
And last but certainly not least, here's a cheers to Abby in Vincennes. Everyone we just mentioned went to truecrimegarage.com and helped us fill up the old garage fridge for this week's set of shows. And for that, we thank you.
Yeah, BWRUN Beer Run for everything true crime. Check out truecrimegarage.com and sign up on the mailing list. And Colonel, that's enough of the business.
All right, everybody gather around, grab a chair, grab a beer. Let's talk some true crime. From the Lantern, the headline is Woman Missing After Leaving Campus Area Bar, and it reads in part, a part-time student is still missing after disappearing from Lito's Lounge, located on North High Street in the early morning hours of August 11th. 20-year-old Julie Popovich has been missing since she left the bar. Family and friends have been papering the campus and surrounding areas with posters describing Popovich and offering a reward of up to $5,000 for information leading to her safe return. Popovich of Reynoldsburg, Ohio, is described as 5'11", 105 pounds, with brown hair and eyes. Columbus police have said they do not think that Julie Popovich left Lito's willingly. In addition, the department has assigned homicide detectives to the case, according to WBNS TV. Popovich disappeared from Lito's Lounge while celebrating a co-worker's birthday. Media reports have said that friends saw her leave the bar with a man they did not recognize. Her friend Tiana Brooks stated, quote, "No one I know said they saw Popovich get in a car with anyone. I don't know where that rumor came from," Brooks said. Julie's friend Tiana Brooks goes on to say that the last time that she saw Julie Popovich was at about 1 a.m. when Popovich told her she was going outside to smoke a cigarette. Although it has been speculated that Popovich left with an unidentified man at about 1 a.m., Brooks, who said she was sober because she had to drive home, said she left Lido's between 1:30 and 2 a.m. and never saw Popovich leave with anyone. When asked if any person showed interest in Popovich, Brooks said she did not notice anyone. Quote, "She's a model. She's beautiful. She's used to guys hanging all over her, but no one guy or person really stuck out to me." End quote. This is True Crime Garage, and this is the case of Julie Popovich. Julie Popovich was 20 years old in the summer of 2005. She lived in Ohio and worked at Max and Irma's restaurant in Reynoldsburg. She was attending the Ohio State University and was also pursuing a career in modeling. She had worked with the modeling agency out of New York and was described by those who knew her best as beautiful, tall, slender, responsible, and full of promise. Julie was born in May of 1985 in Reynoldsburg, Ohio. Her parents are Peggy and Tim White and Victor and Donna Popovich, all residing in Ohio back in 2005. Julie's sister is Christy Popovich, and she also has 4 step siblings. She graduated from Pickerington Central High School in 2003. And was trying to build a life that blended school, work, and modeling. She had brown hair, brown eyes, and was described as 5 feet 11 inches tall and about 105 pounds with striking features. In fact, Central Ohio Crime Stoppers described Julie as a zero-size model with perfect white teeth.
One tall glass of water.
By August of 2005, Julie's life was busy, but in the way that young adulthood often is. She has a bunch of friends. She hangs out with coworkers. She has a job. She's got a boyfriend and has a dog that she cares deeply about, and plenty of plans for the future. But in the early morning hours of August 12, 2005, after a night out celebrating a coworker's birthday, Julie vanished. What followed was a missing persons investigation that quickly became something more serious, a homicide investigation. So let's start with the night in question here, Captain. On August 11th, 2005, Julie Popovich spent that evening with friends and coworkers. So this is a group of people. They're all together celebrating a coworker's birthday. So earlier in the night, Julie and other friends together attended a gathering at a duplex. Her friend, Tiana Brooks, was with her. Tiana later explained that she, Julie, along with another female friend, all drove together, arriving at the duplex in Tiana's car. So the night is starting off well. Everybody's having a great time. And now we're going to take the party elsewhere. So the trio, they leave the duplex party sometime between 10:30 p.m. and 11 p.m. And they went to Lido's Lounge. Lido's Lounge is located at 2608 North High Street in Columbus, near the Ohio State University. This is a well-known campus bar located in a busy area. And look, Lido's has been there and been around forever. Julie was only 20 years old, so not legally old enough to drink. So she used the old, "Hey, buddy, let me borrow your ID" trick. 60% of the time, it works every time. And on that night, it worked.
Yeah, Lido's, it works all the time.
Inside Lido's Lounge, the celebration continued. There was drinking, dancing, mingling. Several people later recalled seeing Julie talking with a young man named Adam Saleh. the tricky part here is we're saying his full name. In these reports and in these descriptions of that night, his name kind of varies when people are recounting what they remember of that night. So he's often just described as a man named Adam. Adam had also been at the duplex party earlier that evening.
Yeah, so he's not just some newcomer to the bar. He's been a part of this party group from the beginning.
Correct. And it seems like he's not entirely alone. I mean, he knows some folks within this group. Tiana Brooks, who we've already mentioned, had a few drinks, but later she said that she was sober enough to drive home. You're going to hear this throughout parts of our presentation of this true crime story because they're all at a bar. Most of these people were at the duplex party earlier that night. So when everybody's recounting what they remember of the evening, a big part of this is always, well, how much did you have to drink? Or the person explaining, hey, I remember this and this was my state of mind that evening.
Right.
So Tiana Brooks saying, look, I had a few drinks, but I was sober enough to drive home. Here's what I remember. I remember seeing my good friend Julie talking to Adam. Other witnesses would later say that Adam wore a shell necklace that night. And this would seem to be a detail that would become more important because there were multiple people that seemed to remember a shell necklace. So we say that because of what I said earlier with Adam's name and how it's reported in these different reports here. Sometimes he's just referred to as Adam. There's a couple of witnesses that say, I saw Julie talking to a young guy, college age, and he had a shell necklace on. Didn't know the guy's name.
They all went to this birthday party and then they go to the bar afterwards, but not all the people there are that familiar with each other. Some of these individuals are just meeting for the first time.
Absolutely. What you have here is you got some of these people we know are Julie's coworkers. Some we know are part of her inner circle that don't have anything to do with Max and Irma's, where she works. And then you have friendships and friendships. It's a campus party. It's a campus bar.
Yeah.
Most of us have been there. You know the crowd that we're talking about. Between approximately 1 a.m. and 1:30 a.m. on August 12, 2005, Tiana saw Julie go outside onto the patio area of Lito's Lounge to smoke a cigarette. This was the last time that Tiana Brooks says that she saw her friend Julie Popovich. Tiana would later leave Lito's. Reports put that time at 1:30 a.m., sometime between about 1:30 a.m. and 2 a.m., and this would be around closing time. And as she's leaving, other girls in the group asked her if she had seen Julie. Tiana said that she had not. She told the friends to have Julie call her if they find her because she was leaving. At that point, no one knew that Julie would never return home. Now, in the first couple days here, Captain, after Julie disappeared, early reports stated that multiple witnesses had seen her leave Lito's Lounge with an unidentified man. This became one of the first public details in the case. However, the picture is not simple here. So an article from the Lantern, this is the Ohio State University student newspaper, reported that Julie had disappeared in the early morning hours after being at Lito's Lounge. The article said that family and friends had been posting flyers around campus and nearby areas offering a reward of up to $5,000 for information leading to her safe return. The same report noted that police did not believe Julie had left Lito's willingly. Columbus police had already assigned homicide detectives to the case, which signaled how seriously investigators were taking the disappearance.
Well, one of the major problems in this case is the varying stories. So you have some people saying that Julie was interacting with Adam all night. Some people didn't know what Adam's name was, so he's shell necklace guy. And then so when she's leaving, we have various eyewitness reports. Some people saying that she left with this Adam guy or shell necklace guy. Some people saying that her boyfriend picked her up. I believe it's later that other people come out and say that they might have saw a woman being forced into a car. So we have a lot of varying reports, and part of that is because they're having a good time and they're drinking.
Yeah, so this part is quite interesting here, because what we like to do is to deduce what the detectives are doing, right? We want to know what we think is going on with the missing person or with a homicide case based off of what the actions are of the investigators. And we know that they get to choose their words, the words that they release to the public. So what I take this as is we got detectives taking a look at this case, and everything that they are seeing, the information that they are finding early on in the investigation is telling them, we think that this is going to turn into a homicide investigation at some point. So let's put the men and women on it that have an expertise in that area right now and treat the disappearance as foul play and let them take the investigation on. So something's telling them to pursue it in this manner. They don't just do this. There was some pushback, though, to that statement when that comes out from Columbus Police, saying that we've assigned homicide detectives to the case. And that pushback, I found this to be odd, that it comes from her friend, Tiana Brooks. She publicly says, look, the idea that anyone in her circle, Julie's circle, my circle, our circle,
is capable of this.
Right. But she also says, I don't have the direct quotes right here in front of me. I do have one, but let's get into it. She's simply saying, they're saying Julie left with a unidentified man. We know that from the article. Tiana's saying that's not what we experienced. Tiana said that when she found out that Julie was missing, she spoke the next day with the girls who had been there that night. According to Tiana, they told her they never saw Julie leave. Tiana said it was not like Julie to leave with someone she did not know. She also said she had not talked to anyone who could confirm that Julie got into a car with anyone. Quote, no one I know said they saw Popovich get in a car with anyone.
Julie Popovich had a boyfriend at the time, Justin Rogers. I don't believe that Justin was planning to go to the party, but I think there was a possibility that he was going to join them later at the bar. And then he told Julie that he wasn't going to be able to meet them because he had to work late.
Yeah, possibly some conflict in stories here. The general statement here was that he was to pick her up that night. What else that involved, it's difficult to say. Tiana says that she believed that the rumor that Julie left with someone that night might have been sending police in the wrong direction, because in her view, no one was truly certain about what they had seen. Julie was supposed to leave with her boyfriend, Justin Rogers, that night. Justin had Julie's vehicle, but he never came to Lido's because he had, like you said, Captain, been at work late and then at another bar. I'm a little confused on this detail here, because some reports state that he worked at that other bar, and then other reports state that he worked late and then was at another bar. So Tiana pointed out that even if Justin had not shown up, several of Julie's other girlfriends were there and could have given her a ride. Tiana also said that if Julie had clearly left in a car around 1 a.m., someone should have mentioned it immediately that night. Instead, as Tiana remembered it, people were asking where Julie was as the night ended. That is true. The uncertainty would linger, but investigators soon began to hear from other witnesses, back to what you were saying earlier, Captain, who remembered Julie and Adam interacting closely inside the bar.
Yeah.
On August 12th, this is the day after the party, the day after the night out, Julie did not show up for work. This is immediately alarming to the people that know her, because remember, some of the people that she's partying with the night before are coworkers. So they don't seem to remember her. Some of them don't remember her leaving. Some don't know how she left. And now it's the next day. They're at work and she's not.
And just to take a little back step real quick, she was intoxicated. She was visually intoxicated. And even so much so, I believe at one point she was dancing on the bar and fell off the bar, hitting her face pretty badly to the point where she is telling people throughout the night, my face hurts.
We have some details on that aspect of it. That is all true. And you're right, by all accounts that night, there was more than one person that saw her fall. And it sounds like it was a pretty dramatic fall.
Yeah. When you fall on your face, not a good thing, whether you're sober or drunk. But I would think maybe not that big of a red flag. She didn't show up to work. She was drinking. We partied last night, but she's a responsible young adult. So like you said, alarm bells are going off.
Yeah. And a quick check at her residence would confirm your concern when you find that she's not there. And by all accounts, Julie was described as extremely responsible. That doesn't, even responsible people miss a day of work. But her friend, to add some color to this a little bit here, Captain, her friend Tiffany Maynard later told CBS News that Julie was not the type to fake her own disappearance or disappear voluntarily. Quote, anyone who knows Julie knows she's extremely responsible, Maynard said. She wouldn't miss a day of work. There's also Julie's dog. Maynard said Julie would not leave her dog alone. This statement is backed up by several people who said that on more than one occasion, Julie would bring her dog with her to get together or a hangout because she was worried that she would leave the dog home alone for too long and didn't want that to happen. So the fact that Julie had not come home, had not gone to work, wasn't taking care of the dog, had not made contact with friends or family, this is what quickly convinced those close to her that something was very wrong. As said, they report her missing. Columbus police also became concerned with what they were learning early on. What they're learning tells them that they should be suspecting foul play is responsible for her disappearance. And they begin looking for a male person of interest. A CBS News report published after Julie had been missing for 13 days said police had transitioned the case to the homicide unit, even though they did not yet have physical evidence proving murder. A police representative explained that investigators had developed information suggesting the case could become a homicide. Based on their experience, they believe the homicide unit should lead the investigation. Friends and family searched. They handed out flyers. They posted information around campus and surrounding areas. They offered a reward, and they're holding on to hope even as fear grew. Back to her friend Tiffany Maynard. She said that the possibility of the worst outcome had to remain in the back of their minds, but everyone remained hopeful and willing to do whatever was necessary to bring Julie home safely. Now, let's go back to the boyfriend for a bit here, Captain. Because Julie's boyfriend, Justin Rogers, had been expected to pick her up from Lido's lounge, obviously police were looking at him. Tiana Brooks said that she saw Justin the following day on August 12th and says she noticed that he had a bandage on his hand. Justin told her that he had hit a wall, injuring his hand.
Red flag.
Tiana gave police that information, along with the fact that Justin had Julie's car on the night in question. Investigators interviewed Justin and, of course, observed his bandaged hand. They learned that Justin and Julie's relationship had been volatile at times, but detectives were quickly able to confirm that Justin had, in fact, been at another bar until that bar closed at 2:30 a.m. on August 12th in the early morning hours. This was after Julie was last seen. So other people they're talking to, Julie's missing already before this 2:30 a.m. marker.
Right.
Or at least they have no one telling us that they saw Julie or interacted with her during that time. So right now, his alibi placed him somewhere else during the critical window of Julie's disappearance. Now, we do know that Justin was, in fact, calling Julie that night. Justin told people that Julie was not answering her phone, so he did not know where to go to pick her up.
Yeah, it's a weird situation because they live together, but it seems like he's using her car all the time. He lies about having to work, and maybe maybe there's explanation for that story. I also kind of wonder, was he supposed to work was he working in a place that it slowed down so they let him go? And then he just went. Most of the time when you work in a restaurant or a bar, you go out for a couple drinks afterwards if you get off early enough. And maybe he's just going to hang out at this other bar until he heard from his girlfriend. And if he doesn't hear anything back, it's not unreasonable to think, well, she's just going to get a ride with the people that gave her a ride to the party.
Yeah, although Justin's behavior and that injury initially drew attention, the investigators eventually moved away from him as police confirmed his alibi. They started to gather more information about another man. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. You've heard about therapy with BetterHelp, but do you know how much people love it when they use it? See for yourself. Check out amazing customer reviews updated every day at betterhelp.com/reviews. You'll find hundreds of people sharing how much BetterHelp has helped them. The feedback from people who have used BetterHelp speaks for itself because BetterHelp has an average live therapy session rating of 4.9 out of 5, based on over 1.7 million client session reviews. It's no wonder more than 6 million people have used BetterHelp globally. Haven't tried it yet? BetterHelp makes it easy to get started. Just answer a few questions and get matched with a therapist. BetterHelp therapists have at least 3 years and 1,000 hours of hands-on experience. See the reviews, see what stands out, and see if BetterHelp is right for you. Visit betterhelp.com/garage. That's betterhelp.com/garage. Most of us picked a bank at 16 and never looked back. Sound familiar? That's where Chime comes in. They're not like traditional old banks who charge fees and gatekeep perks and rewards. Chime offers the most rewarding, fee-free banking, all with no overdraft fees, no monthly fees, no minimum balance fees. You get 5% cash back on Chime Card in a category of your choice, like gas or groceries, all while building credit through regular, everyday spending with no credit check. And you can also grow your money faster with a savings rate that's 9 times the national average. Join the millions who are already banking fee-free with America's #1 choice for banking. Head to chime.com/garage. That is chime.com/garage. Sign up now. It only takes a few minutes. Chime is a fintech, not a bank. Banking services and Chime Card provided by Chime's bank partners. Qualifying direct deposits required. Terms and limits apply. Go to chime.com/disclosures for details.
For kids, a summer means freedom. As adults, summer still means freedom thanks to Mint Mobile's summer sale. Right now, all of Mint's plans are just $15 per month, even unlimited. Free yourself from big wireless and switch to Mint Mobile for high-speed data and coverage on the T-Mobile 5G network. I love Mint Mobile. Free yourself, I say treat yourself. I was paying well over $150 a month, and I thought, $15 a month, Mint Mobile, is it going to be as good? Well, guess what? It's even better. I'm saving a lot of cheddar, I'm treating myself, and that's why you're going to love Mint Mobile. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/TCG. That's mintmobile.com/TCG. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/TCG. That's it. There's no catch. Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, and $180 for 12 months. Plan required, $15 a month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. Includes up to 20 gigabyte hotspot. Capable device required. Availability, speed, and coverage varies. See mintmobile.com. Treat yourself at mintmobile.com/TCG.
August is the perfect time to hit reset before the autumn rush begins, and your closet is a great place to start. Quince is the perfect place to refresh a wardrobe with timeless, high-quality essentials, like their ultra-soft organic cotton tees and premium Mongolian cashmere sweaters. They're versatile, timeless, and transition seamlessly from a casual workday to dinner out. Everything at Quince is priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. They work directly with ethical factories and cut out the middlemen, so you're paying for high quality, not brand markup. I love Quince.com, and in fact, I will be shopping Quince.com later today like I have done a dozen times before. Why? Because I love their gear, I love the style, I love the value, and the orders and shipping are hassle-free. Right now, I am wearing an ultra-soft organic cotton tee from Quince and Quince socks. I have dozens of them. My closet is full of gear from Quince. Upgrade your everyday. Go to quince.com/garage for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada and the UK too. That's QUINCE.com/garage for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/garage.
All right, we are back. Talk hands in the air.
Raise them high. Raise them high. Cheers to the people in the back. Several witnesses placed Julie with Adam Saleh during the night. Tiana Brooks remembered Julie talking to Adam at Lito's. Later, when Tiana saw Adam, so this is on another date, on another day, she sees Adam and she says, "Hey, have you seen Julie? What was up that night?" Adam said no. He told Tiana that he had left Lito's to take a friend home, did go back to the bar, but he says by the time he got back there, no one from his group was still there. So he just left and went home.
Yeah, and when police questioned the group of friends, because Adam's not just at the bar alone, he knows other people, just doesn't know Julie and some of the other people as well. But his friends say they don't really remember much interaction between him and Julie. But again, we have other individuals saying there was a lot of interaction. And Adam later doesn't deny that there was some interaction, but he didn't know her other than meeting her at that party and at that bar.
Yeah, so let's get into those accounts from some of the people that were there that night that do say that they saw Julie and do say that they, witnessed what she was up to and what may have led to her leaving the bar that night. So we have another friend of Julie's. This is Lila Kimes. She said that she arrived at Lito's Lounge between midnight and 12:30 a.m. She says by this time, Julie was already there. Like you said, Captain, Julie appeared intoxicated to her friend, Lila. Julie introduced Lila to Adam. Lila remembered that Adam was wearing a shell necklace. According to Lila, Adam and Julie talked together for much of the night. They danced together, and she said they may have kissed, that there was some recollection that the two of them may have kissed at some point. Lila saw Julie dance on the bar. This is where Julie fell. She fell from dancing on the bar, and Lila says that Julie appeared uninjured and resumed dancing quickly after. Lila later said Julie looked very intoxicated when she left and was slouched over Adam's shoulder because she could not walk well by herself. Lila believed they were going outside to smoke, but she never saw Julie again. We have Lila's date, Justin Webb, was also at Lito's that night. He was a designated driver. He was not drinking that night. He arrived between midnight and 12:30 a.m. as well. He remembered seeing Julie, mostly talking to Adam. He also remembered Adam's shell necklace. He also remembers Julie dancing on the bar and falling. Like Lila, he said he did not think that she was seriously injured from the fall and that she continued dancing afterward. And he as well says that he saw Adam and Julie leave Lito's between about 1:15 a.m. and 2 a.m. He says Julie was very intoxicated and leaning on Adam as he walked her out the door. Justin Webb as well says he never saw Julie Popovich again.
Couple questions that I know are on everybody's mind. Shell necklaces were very popular. Did the Colonel take place in the trend of the shell necklace?
I don't know. I was trying to think of that because, somebody said that they were popular. I think maybe somebody gifted one to me.
Yeah. And then you cut them out of your life.
Well, no, I don't know. I seem to recall having one, but like you wouldn't know it from looking at me, but I'm pretty particular about what I wear. And I never wore one. I know that to be true.
Well, there was different kinds.
Yeah.
There was the full shell necklace where the whole necklace was made up of shells. And then there's ones that like the little black rope with maybe one shell on it. But yeah, it wasn't really my scene either.
Those ones in my friend group, the shell necklace was not popular. It was more like you said, it was the black necklace with the shark tooth, single shark tooth. On August 16th, so now we're just a few days out after Julie disappeared, a man named Brian Hanna found an identification card near a guardrail by rocks on the east side of a bridge on Smothers Road. Okay, to be clear, for those of you unfamiliar with Central Ohio or even the Ohio State campus area, Smothers Road is nowhere near campus. I don't think anybody would describe it as being close by. The ID that this man finds belongs to Tiana Brooks. Now, remember, that's the same identification card that Julie had borrowed to use to get into Lito's lounge on the night that she disappeared. So this dude does the right thing. What do you do? What are you supposed to do when you find an ID card not belonging to you? You mail it to the address listed on the card. That's what he did. The Pony Express will carry the identification card back to Tiana Brooks. And as you said at the time, the discovery of this ID was disturbing, but also its full significance was not yet clear. Tiana's obviously going to report this to the police, and the location in which it was found would later become central to this investigation. So now we were at August 25th. So garage math tells me that's 13 days, Captain, after Julie was last seen. We have Columbus police detectives interviewing Adam. The interview was recorded. Adam admitted, like you said, he had been at the duplex party, then at Lito's lounge. He admitted spending time with Julie at both locations. He said that Julie was drunk, in his opinion, at Lito's, and he says that she told him, he didn't witness the fall, but she told him that she had fallen off the bar. Adam says that she complained of pain in her face and neck. Adam also said Julie had been talking to another man at Lito's and that this was the last time that he saw her that night. According to Adam, he left Lito's sometime between 1 a.m. and 2 a.m. to help his mother close a nearby carryout store that she operated. He said he went home after helping his mother.
And just to reiterate, he already told somebody else that he left Lito's to take a friend home, and then he returned to Lito's. So this is a little bit of a different story.
A completely different story, yeah.
Yeah.
He never tells police that he went back to Lito's, and we know this because this is not a he said. This is a recorded statement. Now, during this interview, of course, detectives noticed that Adam was wearing a shell necklace. This is going to be interesting while it doesn't seem so interesting to us here in the garage, it's going to be interesting to detectives because remember, some people that are recounting the events of that night are simply describing a man wearing a shell necklace. They don't know the guy's name. Right. So what you're getting is you're getting person after person now that's saying this guy spent a good amount of time with Julie that night. It was either Adam Saleh, or a guy wearing a shell necklace. Adam told police when questioned, he said he always wore it, that it was part of his regular look.
It's the standard douchebag look.
At the end, well, Yeah, I mean, I get it. I have a bracelet that I wear that I do not leave home without it. Now, like other things, accessories, I may leave home without them, but I have a bracelet that's like near dear, close to my heart. I don't leave my home without it.
Well, in fairness, we've all gone through a period that we jumped on a trend. And so this was Adam's trend. He wore a shell necklace and he wore it everywhere and he was proud of it. And he told police officers, yeah, I wear it all the time.
Had to have gotten it on spring break. I've lived in Ohio long enough to tell you there are no shells here, my friend. Well, there might be some, but I don't know if anybody's making necklaces out of them. He agreed. He's agreeing to this interview, and he is cooperative with police during this interview. He agreed to provide fingerprints and an oral swab. He also agreed to leave his vehicle for examination.
Yes.
And at the time Adam was driving, his vehicle was a Crown Victoria. So for those that don't know, it's a large 4-door vehicle. This is similar to the type of vehicle that you might see on police shows because it's the size of a police vehicle. Oftentimes you will see an unmarked car, detectives driving a similar type vehicle. His car was later described by folks that know him as extremely clean. People saying that he took meticulous care of his vehicles.
Well, I believe he was an auto mechanic.
These things are also heavy and fast. I like heavy and fast vehicles. On September 1, 2005, Franklin County workers were mowing near a bean field close to Hoover Reservoir when they discovered human remains. That Hoover Reservoir might sound familiar to our garage friends listening today because we had our case of Rob Money, who's went missing in the same area. Now, we got to be clear here, about 10 years prior to Julie going missing, but his vehicle was found parked at the dam parking lot, the Hoover Dam parking lot, not the dam parking lot. The body,
really angry at that parking lot.
Yeah, the body was found behind a shed in a field on Smothers Road in Franklin County, Ohio, near the Hoover Reservoir. It was badly decomposed. Grass had grown around the remains, reportedly up to 10 inches high, suggesting that the body had been there for an extended period of time. Now, this location, the body could not have been seen from the road. It's that far back. Because of the condition of the remains, an anthropologist was brought to the scene to help remove the body while avoiding contamination of evidence. This is incredibly unique. If you will, allow me here, Captain, to touch on this for a bit. This was one part in this case that really stood out to me. This may sound a little mundane to most folks that an anthropologist was brought in, but anthropology, there are only like 9,000 anthropologists in the United States today. Okay. Do you know how many
anthropologists it takes to screw in a light bulb?
Yes. How many does it take? That was my question.
Just one.
Okay. So no, but the reason why this is incredibly interesting and unique, and it goes to the fact that Columbus police, Franklin County sheriffs, whoever made this call, when we often talk about law enforcement doing their due diligence, right? We like to really point out when law enforcement goes above and beyond and when they really hit all the marks. We also point out when they when they turn their job into a real shit show. Now, this is what you want to talk about doing your due diligence. I told you there's only about 9,000 anthropologists in the United States. There are only about 150 forensic anthropologists. That's who would be responding to the scene. Now, let's take that a step further. There are fewer than 15 forensic anthropologists holding full-time positions directly inside medical examiner or coroner offices. 15. So garage math, that's what, Captain? Less than 1 for every 3 states. 50 states, less than 1 for every 3 states. So The reason why this is incredibly interesting to me is I've had the privilege of meeting and spending a morning with a forensic anthropologist, one from, I can't remember because this was a few years back. I can't remember if this was from Illinois or Indiana, but what they do is they get called in and they have to go to another state because most states don't have a forensic anthropologist that's working for a medical examiner or a coroner's office. To do this in an investigation is extremely rare. And then on top of that, what has to happen? You have to secure and hold that crime scene untouched, not allow your detectives or anyone in there.
Right.
While you hold that scene and wait for the forensic anthropologist and their team to arrive to do their thing. And their thing is amazing when you see it play out. It's like one of these dinosaur digs or a fossil dig. Everything is grid. Everything is checked. While the reports, when you read it in the newspaper, say it in this just a simple sentence of an anthropologist was brought in to remove the body from the scene. The anthropologist was brought in to help remove the body from the scene, avoid contamination of the scene, avoid contamination of the evidence, and look for evidence. Although the anthropologists would call them artifacts. But to me, sorry, nerded out a bit there, but incredibly interesting. On September 18th, the Lantern, the newspaper we've already mentioned, reported that the Columbus Division of Police released a statement confirming the body was that of missing 20-year-old Julie Popovich. Dental records and DNA testing were used to confirm the identity.
Well, like you said, there was decomposition, but there's not a lot of missing women at this time period. We have the homicide unit already on this investigation. They're questioning people that were there that night. It's a tall task because it's not like she was at a small gathering of friends and there's 4 people we have to talk to. We have to talk to all the people that were there, anybody that passed by, any close friends and family members. And so I think even though there was decomposition, I think they knew who the victim was right when they found her.
Yeah, and this was very much the talk about town when she was missing, because she's missing for roughly 3 weeks. Not everywhere that I would go, but many places that I would go, I would hear people talking about the missing OSU student, the missing girl from campus, speaking in general terms. And if I recall correctly here, Captain, there was another female body that was found during the duration of this, and it was suspected that was Julie. But right. They quickly, it was like by the end of the day in that finding, they announced that it wasn't Julie Popovich. So here, using the dental records and the DNA testing, they were able to confirm the identity. Her body was found a couple miles in reality, and no more than I would say 2 to 3 from where Tiana Brooks's identification card had been discovered near Smothers Road. So that connection immediately matters to your investigation, obviously.
And was there anything else found with the victim? Yeah,
so she was found clothed. However, her skirt was backward and up above her waist. There are reports about the underwear being torn, and we don't get a better description than that. I don't know if it was torn and found nearby or still on her person. And remember, that identification card was the one that she was using that night. So it seemed to have been transported along with her, is the only reasonable explanation. Now, the condition of Julie's body and the way that it was found was the indicators of foul play to the experts. Her legs were spread apart. Her arms were extended above her head. We already talked about the clothing. The other thing that's a big part of this too, Captain, is where she's found would be a strong indicator of foul play because you can't see the spot from the road.
Right.
She was there for a good amount of time, meaning whoever put her there, their intention was to conceal the body. Now, due to warm, wet conditions, the decomposition here, the exact cause of death could not be conclusively determined. Despite what folks in the South think, Central Ohio in August, it's really hot. It's really hot. And the combination of heat where the body was found, this is near water. So the combination of heat, water, insects, and vegetation can accelerate decomposition. Now, even though the precise cause of death could not be determined, authorities ruled it a homicide, as said. The autopsy estimated that death occurred between August 8th and August 14th, 2005. So that range obviously is consistent with Julie last being seen in the early morning hours of August 12th, the night at Lito's Lounge. I'm a little befuddled here because I know that every jurisdiction's different. Every county's different with the way that they write up their autopsy reports. But I know that the doctors, coroners, they are allowed to use information that is not scientific to arrive at a time of death. But it appears they chose not to here. Why, I don't know. And the reasons it would be not scientific is, she went to work, she went to school, 1,000 people saw her on the 8th, the 9th, the 10th, the 11th. Yeah. So it seems odd to me but whatever. Nobody's asked me to fill out an autopsy.
Well, they might one day.
Hopefully not. Hopefully not. After Julie's body was found, police are going to interview Adam again, right? So they obtained a warrant to search his home. They also searched his vehicle again. Neither the search of the home nor the vehicle produced incriminating physical evidence. Investigators quietly installed a GPS tracker on Adam's vehicle. The GPS showed Adam frequently drove at very high speeds, often over 100 miles per hour. Adam was interested in racing. As you said, he's a car guy. Police and SWAT officers observed and confirmed his frequent high-speed driving. Eventually, Adam found and removed the GPS tracker. So when you hear that police and SWAT officers observed and confirmed his frequent high speeds, deduce the investigation, what's that telling you? They tailed this guy.
Yeah.
Now, cell phone records will become one of the most important parts of this case.
I think you're kind of missing something here because you can't just willy-nilly get warrants to search his property and to track his car and all these things. I think this all stems from Adam was arrested September 6th on rape charges with a different victim. And so I think that's spawned a lot of the investigation focusing in on Adam.
Absolutely. And that's going to lead them to his cell phone information as well. So the information we have that's made its way to the public is that at 2:26 a.m. on August 12th, 2005, Adam checked his voicemail. The call lasted up to 1 minute and registered off a cell tower near a high school on Route 161 East. Okay, so that route leads to, not directly, but it leads to Smothers Road, where Julie's body was found.
Right.
And it's much, much closer to where her body was found rather than when she was last seen and where he says that he was. At 3:42 a.m., Adam received a call from his mother. That call lasted about 3 minutes and registered off a tower at 901 Sunbury Road, also near the area where Julie's body was found. This is closer to where her body was found.
Right.
Than the previous marker. At 3:58 a.m., Adam received another call from his mother. This call lasted about 1 to maybe 1.5 minutes and registered off of a tower at 364 West Lane Avenue near Ohio State University, the tower closest to Adam's apartment. Now, remember, Adam had originally told investigators that he left Lito's to help his mother close her store and then went home. But the cell phone data suggested he was away from home later that night, including near the area where Julie's body was found and the identification card was found. To investigators, the records undermined Adam's alibi, and Adam was arrested in late 2005. And yep, he was arrested on and charged in connection with Julie Popovich's death. These charges included aggravated murder, kidnapping, attempted rape, tampering with evidence, and a few other charges. Adam pled not guilty and was going to be facing a jury trial. So now he's going to spend a little time in the clink, right? Waiting for this trial. And while he's being held at the county jail, prosecutors would later argue that Adam tried to create a false alibi and influence the case from inside jail.
Yeah, and just to take a step back, Adam tells one person a story. I left the bar, I took a friend home, then I came back to the bar, and then I went home. Then he tells police, well, actually, I left the bar by myself, went to help my mom, ate a pizza, went back to my house, threw up. Since those two stories haven't worked, now I have to come up with another story.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Third time's a charm.
Don't give up. Try and try again. So let's go ahead and move to the trial, because that's when all this information is going to come out. Adam Saleh's trial did not begin until April 16th, 2007. This is in Franklin County Common Pleas Court. Julie had been killed in August of 2005. The case was delayed, or at least the trial was, to evaluate witnesses. As you said, as you pointed out, there's a lot of people that they talked to because they were out that night. Friends were out that night. Julie was out that night. Over the course of about 2 weeks, prosecutors presented testimony from 31 witnesses. The witnesses included Julie's friends, the detectives, of course, cell phone experts, jailhouse informants, an FBI handwriting expert, and others who helped construct the prosecution's theory of what happened. The prosecution's case was not built around one single piece of forensic evidence. Instead, it relied on a chain of circumstances and eyewitness accounts. And what their case was is simply this, Captain. Julie was last seen with Adam. Witnesses remembered Adam and Julie together at Lido's.
Right.
Julie was extremely intoxicated and appeared to more than one person to be leaving with Adam while leaning on him. He's assisting her out. Tiana Brooks's identification card used by Julie that night was found near Smothers Road. Julie's body was found near Smothers Road. Adam's cell phone connected with towers near the area where Julie's body was found. Adam allegedly made incriminating statements to jail inmates. Adam allegedly wrote notes attempting to create false alibis and threaten or influence witnesses. Adam's mother and other defense witnesses gave accounts that prosecutors argued do not and did not fit together.
Well, just like Adam changes his story, his mother, which you may or may not believe is an alibi or could be an alibi, she also alters her story. And I've seen at least 4 different versions of her story.
Yeah. And what I just delivered could, if I were the prosecutor, could have been my opening statement. I would have just followed that up with, and that is why we are asking for you to find this man guilty of the murder of Julie Popovich.
Yeah, but the problem with their case is going to be, I don't believe there's any DNA evidence found.
Correct.
Possibly because of where she was found or the decomposition. And then also, how did he get her from Lido's bar to this reservoir? That it's a pretty good distance. I believe it would take anywhere between 20 to 30 minutes drive time. And we know he likes to drive fast, but it's like, you would think, yes, we have people stating that he kept his car clean, but you'd think you'd find some DNA or touch DNA or hair or something in his vehicle.
True. In regard to the cell phone markers, remember we have witnesses saying that she left 1:30 to 2 a.m. with Adam, and the marker, the ping that puts him closest to the body is at 3:42 a.m. So a good amount of time. But as you said, they've searched his vehicle. And in fact, they actually searched his vehicle more than once.
Yeah.
And found nothing. On one of those occasions, he agreed to it. On the first occasion, he agreed to it. On the second occasion, they got a judge to sign off on a search warrant for that vehicle. The prosecution called a telecommunications expert to the stand to explain how the cell phone tower pings worked. You know, this is This is not information that most people know. It's covering your bases. This is something you need to explain to the jury. Their expert was someone who designed, built, and maintained cell towers. So seems like an expert. Well, let's added layer here, fellas. This is the guy that built and maintained some of the towers that we are specifically talking about in this trial.
Right.
He's saying, look, this is indicative of his cell phone activity. This is how we can place him in these areas. This is why this works. And oh, by the way, as most of us in the garage know, that sometimes these pings can be rerouted to, they can reroute activity to other towers. But this expert's saying, look, this time of night that we're talking about, and in this general area, there is and there was that night very little call volume. So while they cannot say 100% conclusively, the statement was the towers would not likely have rerouted activity because of congestion.
Because what the defense is going to argue is that, hey, he was still on campus, and because it's a Saturday night, it's going to be so busy that it's going to reroute his cell phone to a different tower.
He would have been west, just slightly like West Campus. This is not just East Campus. This is east of East Campus. This is east going out in the middle of the sticks, away from Columbus, away from the suburbs, and beyond the fringe of the suburbs to the east. And they're saying, this expert testified that Adam would have been within about a 2-mile radius of the towers when his phone registered. Police also testified that they tested routes from Lito's lounge to the location where Julie's body was found and then to Adam's apartment. Okay, the reason why they're testing this, you're covering your bases, but you don't need someone to say, oh, we ran the route and it's possible to make it from Lito's to where her body was found in this amount of time. You could have made it from Lito's to where her body was found. What do you think, Captain? 2, 3, 4 times in the amount of that time. But the key here is that proving that someone could physically make it to where his cell phone registered all the way out east there by Smothers Road by Hoover Reservoir and make it back to his apartment where it later registered just a short amount of time later.
Right.
And so they're saying, we did this, we tested these routes and it works. They're adding a layer to that as well, saying, look, Adam's documented habit of driving extremely fast makes these travel times even more feasible and line up, in their opinion, with the cell tower data. The defense, of course, is going to call their own communications expert. This is a person who worked in the phone industry for many years. That expert suggested that the tower pings could be inaccurate, but prosecutors challenged his qualifications. They emphasized that he was not familiar with the Columbus area or Franklin County. So they call somebody that's not even from the area. This individual did not have a qualifying degree in telecommunications. So they're attempting to discredit him. They also discredited him by showing that he claimed one relevant tower did not exist.
Yeah.
At the time of Julie's disappearance, while the state's expert testified that it did exist, and here's documentation to show you that it exists and it's operational at the time of her disappearance.
Well, the defense had an expert witness, but he folded pretty dramatically, I think.
Like a cheap suit.
Yeah.
Julie's phone was never recovered. We should point that out. One detective did testify that Julie's records showed the last call from her phone was made at 1 a.m. on August 12, 2005, before she was seen leaving the bar. The defense attempted to suggest records showed additional calls from Julie's phone later on August 12, but those records had not been properly submitted or authenticated. The prosecution objected, and the court did not allow them to into the official record.
Yeah, this is really fascinating to me because for whatever reason, Julie Popovich didn't have her own plan, or some people at that time, a 20-year-old, you might be on your family's plan. Her plan was connected to a friend. So that friend had those records, and supposedly there's some kind of communications that are happening with that phone in the afternoon and the evening of the 12th, which doesn't make a lot of sense, but because we don't have those records, we don't know who was making those calls, because if we believe what the prosecution
that's the interesting question, though, isn't it? Is what was that activity that they're referencing? Because if it's not her phone creating the activity, but receiving calls or texts, which one would expect,
that would just mean her phone was still on.
Right. Hey, Julie, where are you? Or are you coming to work today? Hey, the boss is a little peeved. You were supposed to be here 30 minutes ago. Hope you're not too hungover. I could imagine but if you're the prosecution,
right. But if you're the prosecution, the other answer is, well, if she left the bar between 1 and 2 and she's now dead, and somebody else, her phone is not found on her, so somebody else could have that phone and could be trying to communicate or to present some idea of communication through this phone, again, to establish an alibi.
And one doesn't have to look too far. We covered it when we covered the ogre. He took his victims. Rex Heuermann took his victims' cell phones and in some cases used them to communicate with future victims, and also used the cell phone to taunt the family members of the victim.
Well, and what we do have in this case is we have that identification that was her friend's that she used at the bar, and that's found in a different location. So after the killer disposes of the body, does he dispose of the other items somewhere else? And so, yes, we have this Good Samaritan that finds that identification, but I would think that if you would have done a more thorough investigation of that area, you might have been able to find other items of Julie's.
True. And here's the other thing, though. Keep in mind where she was found, because what it sounds like to me is if I'm driving away from this crime scene where I left her, I drove over a bunch of water. I drove over a bridge to get her there. Believe you me, I'm tossing that phone in that water on my way back.
One of the problems I have, though, is if we have some kind of communication or activity on her phone, and we have the individual, one of her friends, that's being cooperative with police, you would think that they would be able to get the GPS and ping data from her phone as well.
A major part of the prosecution's case came from inmates who said Adam was blabbing, couldn't keep his mouth shut. I guess the part here that Adam failed to fully understand was the you now have the right to remain silent portion of the arrest Mirandizing. Anything you say or do can and will be used against you. And they used a whole lot of it against him at trial. So we have a guy named Ryan Banks testified that he shared a cell with Adam. Adam told him that he met Julie at a nightclub, that she was drunk, and they went outside for fresh air. He says that they went to his vehicle. Julie resisted his sexual advances, and that Adam allegedly put his hands around her throat. This Banks individual says that Adam told him that he did that to try to make her pass out so he could rape her, but he must have pressed too hard because he strangled her. Banks testified that Adam said he put Julie's body in the trunk of his car, went home, and then the next day, Adam allegedly took the body to the water and dumped it so it would decompose and leave little to no evidence, and said that Adam told him he cleaned out his trunk. And then at some point later, this is after talking to police, discovered and removed the police GPS tracker. Okay, look, this doesn't line up. This doesn't align with the cell phone activity, with his cell phone activity that he drove home and then the next day disposed of the body. But what's interesting here is, and this was pointed out at trial, you and I typically don't like these jailhouse snitches.
No.
But the very interesting part here was when this guy comes forward and delivers this information to the authorities, the GPS tracker had not been made public. That detail was important to the prosecution because information about the tracker had not been publicly released.
Right.
So that's an indicator that
he's probably telling you the truth.
A big part of the story is the truth, and he could have only got that information from Adam. Another inmate, Damian Witherspoon, testified that Adam said he was worried about his case, even though he claimed he was innocent, because he had been seen at the bar with Julie and also happened to be in the same area where her body was found. Adam allegedly told Witherspoon that his phone had registered off a tower near the body's location. Witherspoon also said Adam told him detectives were stupid because they were investigating the wrong car. He says he was driving a different vehicle that night. Adam allegedly gave Witherspoon notes about a false alibi plan and notes threatening people assisting the prosecution.
I want to thank everybody for joining us here in the garage. So much more to get to in this true crime story. Stick around for part 2. Until then,
be good, be kind, and don't litter.
This podcast is supported by Nurtec ODT, Remegipant. We know you didn't ask for an interruption, but migraine doesn't wait for the right moment to interrupt either. It just barges in, takes your time, and throws everything off. So when migraine takes your time, take Nurtec. It's for the acute treatment of migraine with or without aura in adults. Nurtec can provide pain relief in 2 hours, which can last up to 2 days. Ask your healthcare provider if Nurtec is right for you, because your time is for you, not migraine. Don't take if allergic to Nurtec ODT. Allergic reactions can occur even days after use. Get help right away for trouble breathing, rash, swelling of face, mouth, tongue, or throat. High blood pressure and Raynaud syndrome can occur. Get help for high blood pressure, numbness, coolness, pain, or color changes in fingers and toes. Common side effect is nausea. For full prescribing information, call 1-833-4-NURTEC or visit Nurtec.com. All right, back to your podcast, playlist, or whatever's keeping you going today.
Courage. I learned it from my adoptive mom. Hold my hand.
You hold my hand. Learn about adopting a teen from foster care at adoptuskids.org. You can't imagine the reward. Brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.